The moderators weren't that bad. I mean, there was one time when they brought it back to the border and immigration and all that. We're like, wow, how'd that happen? You kind of, because DJT ended up steering it away, and they asked the question again. I was like, wow, that's not what Kamala's going to win on. Outside of that, that was just basically good theater. Get your popcorn ready for the first one. We talked about it for a while. There probably won't be another one because there's no way Kamala's going to do that again. But
the moderator seems to be running for office because he debated Donald Trump better than Kamala Harris debated Donald Trump.
I think that's why everyone's embracing this movement. They're not even thinking about what the procedure is. They're just going with the niceness of things. Trump's abortion answer, I know this is not popular with my Catholic folks. I thought that was a perfect answer for him.
By the way, my name is Joe McClane. I host a radio program called A Catholic Take, where we look at the world through a Catholic lens. I'd love for you to hang out with us. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and let us know what you think in the comments below.
Did you catch the debate last night, though? It was very interesting, to say the least. And I think the moderators alone were worth the price of admission. Very fun just to watch them. But I would like to invite Steve Cunningham from Sensus Fidelium Press, sensusfideliumpress.com on the show. Always good with some political commentary, especially on X. I enjoy it. You should too. Steve, good morning to you. Thanks for being on the team.
Morning, bud. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Praise be to God. All right, so there's a lot to get to. We have a very short segment to get to it, so I want to jump right in. I think the moderators were like the biggest takeaway. Everybody, especially conservatives, complained about the moderators. But my bottom line is I didn't see that this debate moved any needles anywhere. I think Virginia still isn't flipped for Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure that if you were going to vote for Donald Trump before, you still are. If you're voting for Kamala Harris, you still are. How do you see it?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you just said. The moderators weren't that bad. I mean, there was one time when they brought it back to what was it to place the things that she should win. I mean, when they brought it back to the border and immigration and all that, we're like, wow, how'd that happen? You kind of, because DJT ended up steering it away, and they asked the question again. I was like, wow, that was. How did they get away with that? Because that's not what Kamala's going to win on. But no, yeah, if you came in, most people already had their minds made up. I mean, there's probably about 10% of the people that probably on the flip side of things, they might go one way or the other. But outside of that, that was just basically good theater. Get your popcorn ready for the first one. We were talking about it for a while. There probably won't be another one because there's no way Kamala's going to do that again. But I thought the moderators weren't that bad. I saw people online, yelling at them. But like I said, they brought some questions back for Harris that wasn't good for her.
Although that may be true, I have to say I agree that the moderators were bad, in my opinion. I mean, it seemed to me like, I don't know who this Kamala Harris is, but the moderator seems to be running for office because he debated Donald Trump better than Kamala Harris debated Donald Trump. So the interaction between these moderators and Donald Trump was more policy-based, more interesting to watch than what Kamala Harris was trying. Every time it got passed to her, she tried to spin, and I mean, he did too as well. But my point is, like, she didn't really try to answer any of these questions substantively, whereas at least the moderator was trying to get into the weeds a wee bit.
I mean, right from the opening question, as things improved, and she went on this rant about who she was and things like that. And like 10 minutes in, it's a yes or no question. This was really easy. And they were obviously, they were softballs on her, and they went after Trump for the a couple things in the past that just the kabuki theater stuff, and like you said, it kind of looked like sometimes they were debating, but still, I mean, they weren't totally in the bag. It seemed like it was like it wasn't 100% fair, but it was more fair than it usually was in the past. But yeah,
they were fact checking only Donald Trump, it seems. I mean, I'm not saying I'm sold out for Donald Trump here. What I'm just saying is it did seem a very biased, but also interesting, a very biased, interesting approach from the moderators because they only fact-checked him. They didn't really fact-check her at all.
Oh, no. That one lady had it out for her. Like when he said something about the abortion one came up, and she goes right off the bat, like, oh, matter of fact, there's no one that does this. They never did that for her, which could have been done, I don't know, 50 times, especially like the fracking thing, the gun thing. So they could have said, madam, we have the video on you saying this. Just, something like this.
Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Let's get into some of the bigger issues that came up, especially abortion, in vitro fertilization, birth control came up. Those are big ones as Catholics. And, I've been very critical of Donald Trump on his abortion stance, especially, and the Republicans embracing IVF. This is tragic. What are we doing here? Tulsi Gabbard came out last night on ABC News after the debate, basically doubling down because in vitro fertilization was special to her, so we should all be supporting it. No, it's wrong. It's a natural law issue. It's not an issue that's just because I'm a Catholic I'm against it. It's wrong for all human beings, not some. So how did you take Donald Trump's response when they tried to get him with a gotcha question on abortion?
Well, remember most voters vote for the emotion. So they're going for the emotional voter out there. That's you, myself, other people that actually dig into issues, things like that. They're not going for those. Most people vote strictly off emotion. And IVF sounds good. Sounds nice. You're wanting to help other people. So that's why I think that's why everyone's embracing this movement. They're not even thinking about what the procedure is. They're just going with the niceness of things. Trump's abortion answer, I know this is not popular with my Catholic folks. I thought that was a perfect answer for him. I'm straight up on the record. Everyone says I'm a federalist guy. Federalism does work. I'm not for centralism. I don't like nationalizing everything, which if you look in the government we have in the Constitution, abortion is not a federal issue. There's enumerated powers they have, and abortion is not one. That's why they got it back. Dobbs brought it back to the states, where all the states have murder laws and things like that, and driver's license laws and medical laws. All the licenses are at the state's level, and states can't end this, which I'm on the record saying if we really want to end this, and we can end all kinds of culture war issues, marriage, trannies, all that stuff at the state's level. But we want to, because we got this mindset, D.C. is supreme. We have to have our elected monarch in D.C. so that they can write with a pen and magically get rid of things. We want to, put who we want in charge to do whatever we want. It's like a dictatorship. The president has no power or authority for any of this stuff. But Trump's response was perfect on that topic. He said, look, we got it back to the states. She wants to bring up a congressional thing. They would say it's unconstitutional. It's back to the states. Supreme Court would say it's unconstitutional. It's back to the states. So again, it's just one of those things. There's an emotional thing on that because she kept on trying to bring up the 2025, the agenda thing. And, oh yeah, I will get you that. I will get you whatever she says with the principles of Roe. What are they? She doesn't even have a clue what that is. But that's the thing. It's a gotcha for the low educated voter in the sense of the emotional response on that. But he kept on saying, hey guys, this is back to the states. For 50 years you wanted me to get back to the states. It's back to the states. Now we want to bring it back nationalized. And I'm on the thing going, if that ever happens, you will get Roe 2.0 out of that. So it's 20 states have done
I agree. It's a slippery slope, right? We don't want the federal government, because they have that power, they're never going to give it up, and they're going to use that power against us at unfortunate times. That's true. Putting it back to the states means that if you're a liberal, you can live in places like New York. You can live in places like Massachusetts or Maine or California, which have crazy abortion laws. Or you can live in places like Texas or Oklahoma, or hopefully Missouri will vote properly coming up. And you can have, a pro-life laws, praise be to God. But don't we as Catholics think, though, that murder is wrong no matter where it's found, and it shouldn't be legal across a border from me versus here? It's like it's not okay there, but not okay here. Like isn't there a natural law principle there?
Right. Yeah, you shouldn't want that anyways. But that goes back into it's the way we got everything said. We're not one size fit all Russia. We're not one size fit all China. The reason why there's all this anger and jest and hatred for each other is we've got everything nationalized. People will fight for the death to get this thing. Make sure, hey, we got DC. We'll get a blanket statement, and then nobody will be able to do anything. It works the opposite way too. So on top of that, yes, natural law, right? That's what we got to get involved into politics. Even Pope Francis at the beginning of his pontificate even brought this as Catholics. You need to get involved in this. He's 100% right. We just sit back and say, hey, we're going to make this magical vote, and that's going to change everything. No, we got to get out there and evangelize, think locally, act locally. We can do that at the local level. We got to get in politics at the local and state level. Most people that watched yesterday probably never saw the gubernatorial debates either. Probably have no clue who's running for state office. You're telling, I can't get off this. There's no way there's not 50 people in each state, good Catholic men, that can't get off their keisters and run for office. You get Catholic guys in the state houses and the gubernatorial races, you're done. It's over. Right now, Protestants are leading the way. We don't have Catholics in the state houses doing anything. We got Catholics probably doing the worst things. Like Colorado right now, they're about to enshrine abortion in the state constitution, and they taxpayers fund it. And the thing that really gets you is Pro-Life Inc. really hasn't done much about it. They kind of sabotaged they did sabotage the personhood amendment in Colorado years ago. They're so disunited that you're going to get the stuff that you don't want, and then go, well, why don't we just get let me get the eject button, let DC to do it. Which if you put a law in,
let me jump in there and cut you off, Steve, because we got bigger issues to get to. That's what the moderators did last night. See them do that like a dozen times. It was so hilarious. But we're going to run out of time. In seriousness, I want to ask you about immigration. That was another big issue. It seems like both the moderators and Kamala Harris and the current administration are absolutely tone deaf to what the country is screaming about right now in immigration. How did you see it?
Man, Kamala did a good job of getting DJT off his game by getting him to take a bite of stuff during those topics, like the rally question. Oh, people are leaving your rallies, and his pride ended up taking over. Right. Oh, look at my note.
Yes,
he could have buried her during that. And there was a time when he did a Tulsi moment when he was just knocking her down. It was almost like throwing a darn towel moment from Rocky. Because you look at Kamala's face, and she was like, she had nothing to say. Because if he would have stuck to the point on this, and this, where you had the closing statements, bam, just knocked her in. It was an uppercut. What have you been the last 4 years? You guys,
right?
You're in charge. We're going to say we're going to fix things that we've messed up. Come on. I mean, but the people that are watched, most people that they're shooting for, don't know that. Like they did the misquoting and things like that, and. This could be a bloodbath, and he had to come back and say, by the way, this, if you watch for 5 seconds later, it was, we're talking about the car industry and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, if DJT would have stuck to it and not let his pride get it, it would have been an, unblemished, clean slate for him yesterday. But, I mean, Kamala didn't come off as personal. At the beginning when she was doing her little, hands on her head and, making her faces and things like that. And it looked a lot childish at the beginning. She cleaned that up in the second half of the thing. But yeah, those kind of issues, DJ, he just pounded her away. The moment you could just sit back and go, eat the popcorn and go, all right, come, what do you got for that, Kamala?
The closing statement was definitely his finest moment, in my opinion. His closing statement was solid, and he really put her on under the spotlight, and the fact that she couldn't respond to that must have had her squirming. They didn't even have her on camera, so we don't know what she was doing, how many hand gestures or whatever, but it was definitely the finest moment for the Donald Trump campaign.
Did you like that video? It's okay. You can admit it. It's perfectly fine. Hey, we cover the big stories of our day, from inside the church to outside the church to all points in between, and we do it from a Catholic perspective. It's called A Catholic Take. It's a radio program Monday through Friday. We live stream it right here on this channel, by the way, so make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We would be very grateful to you. And don't forget, you're going to want to watch this video right here because you don't want to miss anything.